So I'm in the studio today with Larissa Barlow, editor of the Banff Crag Canyon, and Hamish McLean, editor of the Canmore Leader. Thanks for joining me, guys.
Hey, Camara.
Thanks, Camara.
What do we want to talk about first today?
Oh, your choice.
Let's talk about bears.
Yeah.
Let's talk about bears.
Bears are awake and rummaging through the Bow Valley.
Perhaps not all of them, but
Right.
for sure we've got some photographic evidence of some.
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah. We sent a couple of photos late last week. A couple of people saw some big grizzlies awake and scrounging about for food. So obviously, spring is here. The bears are awake.
Yeah, I think the males wake up before the females.
The bigger
Yeah.
guys, I
Yeah.
guess.
The big
yeah.
males
Yeah.
first.
Yeah, so we don't know how many females have had cubs over the winter, but hopefully we have a good
It was
number.
pretty cute, the photos that we got. We've got Paul Calera sent us in some pretty good ones. He takes a lot of photos of bears for us, and he's got one of those lenses that's, stretches.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's like a foot-long lens.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or like a 6-foot-long lens,
Oh,
right?
yeah,
You
yeah.
know what I mean? And it's like you can see for miles, but he's got a big old guy out in a field, sort of like for a bear, chest deep in snow, which is, it's not a picture that I'm used to seeing. You know
Where
what I
are
mean?
we seeing the bears right now?
Bow Valley Parkway. There's a few out, and along the train tracks. Some parks officials said out in Yoho they've had some bear tracks, so they're out there as well. So it's definitely they're all waking up.
Yay.
Despite the extreme cold and snow we keep suffering from.
Extreme
Right.
cold. Today was beautiful.
Today
I
was
was
nice.
out.
It could be better.
Behind Johnson Lake this morning doing
Nice.
some work, for the Bison Belong group, and we were trudging through foot-high snow, and it was very
Gorgeous.
warm, but
Yeah.
my feet were very cold.
Before we move on from bears, can I just sort of plug Wild Smart Bow Valley? So if you go and friend them on Facebook, if you haven't already done that, they're having a bit of a contest. They want to see if somebody can predict the first bear that's picked up by their telemetry people, you know what I mean, below 1,700 meters. I guess they're waiting for bears to come into the valley bottoms. That's where people typically are. And so once a collared bear is in, not Banff, unfortunately, but in the Canmore Kananaskis area below 1,700 meters, that's when they'll be saying, hey, the bears are out. I don't think that there are very many collared bears that call Canmore home. I think that there's only something like 3 that they'd say are in Canmore.
Collared bears, yeah.
Oh, geez, I went out on a limb there. I don't know. But the people at Wild Smart do know. And so friend them on Facebook and then send in a guess of a date to info@wildsmart.ca.
Cool.
I think it's a cute little contest for sure.
Actually, Wild Smart, they had one presentation that got canceled a month or two
Whitner,
ago. Coexisting with Coyotes, and that is again
April 18th?
Monday, April 18th at the Canmore Collegiate. That'll be a really, really, really great presentation.
Yeah.
The coyotes within the cities and what it's like coexisting with them are always really fun. So.
Yeah. No, and I spoke to her briefly, and she seems like she's an advocate for coyotes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that it's always good to try to get inside the heads of these animals or whatnot, and I think that's what she wants to do, which is kind of cool.
The cool thing with coyotes is they have such a negative portrayal in societies that they're sneaky and devious and stuff, but they're really resilient. People have been trying to wipe out coyotes within cities for years.
And they've spread their range.
And they just get more. So it'll be really... Anyways, that's Monday, April 18th at the Canmore Collegiate. That'll be a really great presentation.
I'll say I didn't know what to do. I didn't know if I needed to report it. But that's the thing is coyotes, they're, you know what I mean? If there are tiers of wildlife spottings, it's not like seeing, you know what I mean? It's not like seeing a beaver riding on the back of a grizzly bear or anything like that, which would be amazing.
That would be... I'd like to see you
Take a photo of that, please.
Yeah, but you know what I mean? I saw a coyote the other day just down in Canmore by Bow Valley Trail, sort of prancing along on top of the snow. It looked cute, with head down, looking for maybe something to eat underneath the snow. Yep. It was, it's still...
Coyotes are rad.
Exactly. I still think that they're pretty rad. And this looked like a smaller one, a younger one. It was kind of cute.
Cool. Okay, well, let's... I wanted to also talk about... We're going to cover the elections until they're done.
Yep.
You guys have something really cool going on that's getting a lot of cool response, so let us know what that is.
Well, you know what I mean? I think it's just something that ought to make it easier to follow the election in Wild Rose. And so you'll notice a lot of Politico-type tweets that are going on right now are hashtag CanPoly or hashtag Election41. And ELXN41 or whatnot. And it's just a good way if you set up a search on Twitter to see all the tweets that are come through tagged like that.
Mm-hmm. But then you guys took it one step further.
Yeah,
Larissa, tell us about it.
we started our own hashtag Wild Rose ELXN41 just to talk about some issues for the riding. And it's gotten a good response, a better one than I thought we'd have originally. We have a lot of Liberal supporters using it. We hope to get everybody involved in
Some
it.
green.
We got a couple of green, but it's really great that we can maybe throw out some questions there and have candidates or supporters respond and use that so you can really keep track of what is going on social media wise within the riding. So,
I'd love to see some dialogue sort of evolve through that hashtag. We don't have much time left, but if it happens, it happens.
That's the one thing, though. We don't have much time left, but if there's any outlet that is quick and it's going to start a dialogue, Twitter is the one.
Right, and that's exactly it. They're saying that social media like Twitter is A, increasing the number of buzzwords that we're seeing in this election, and B, decreasing their shelf life. This is just a quick story that I read. I'm not going to say where or remember where. But it's something that I would say we have seen. I don't know if the dialogues sort of had a chance to grow enough for it to be, are there Wild Rose specific buzzwords? I don't know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But there are. It's just not a real buzzword yet. There definitely are, though, out here.
There's be
topics.
Issues.
Yeah, and Wild Rose, it's such a huge area that we've talked about this before. So many different lifestyles and people live within it, that it's really kind of tricky to point down what people are worried about, what people are thinking about, that kind of thing. So what are some of the conversations that have come up so far on this hashtag?
Well, I think one of them, I put out a question and said, do you think that with such a big riding that issues that the Bow Valley is going to get attention for its issues, because we're very different than Olds or Airdrie or Sundre, these other places that we will share an MP with. And almost immediately I had people responding, and Blake Richards, Tory candidate, responded. It was quite quickly, pretty impressive, and so that one was for sure one. We've put out other questions about social media as well. How important is that? And just questions about the riding itself, because we brought that up in this week's issues of the paper. And
interestingly, John Riley, candidate for the Liberals, tweeted in French today, and still hashtag it Wild Rose election. And then I'm pretty sure that somebody for the Liberals, I'm not sure who, but they were tweeting it in Japanese and hashtagging it, which is kind of cool. You know what I mean?
It's getting everyone involved out here.
Yeah. Cool. Riley's actually really good at just throwing up a picture of what he's doing right now. It'd be good to get some more. We put out the question because CPAWS is asking candidates to sort of go through a bit of a questionnaire, and so we threw that out there. And of course, the likely suspect, Mike McDonald for the Greens, did sort of the equivalent of a Facebook retweeted it kind of thing.
Great. And so we'll keep in touch with that. Again, what can people, if they're on Twitter, what can they search for if they want to get involved in this conversation?
So it's just hashtag Wild Rose Election 41, but to save space, we spell election ELXN. So it's Wild Rose Election 41. Perfect.
And what was the last thing we wanted to talk about today?
I wanted to talk about a great event that happened in town. It was called A Night for Japan. It was a big fundraiser that was run by the Rotary Club and the Japanese Society of Banff. And anything that was going to be donated was going to eventually be matched and then given out to Japan for much needed relief there. And shocking amount with the matching dollars, $270,000 will be raised out of Banff in one night.
And that was out of Banff in one night. And then another night, Canmore had that a night
St.
for Japan
Michael's
as well. Yeah.
Church,
Do we know what
that was $14,000.
$14,000 that was raised for
I was
that?
talking to the people at the Chef Studio, which is a popular Japanese restaurant there, and they said that their customers have donated $12,000.
$12,000 just to a restaurant. Yeah.
Exactly.
Wow.
But it's so, like, that's the thing, right, is you could say, hey, you know what I mean, there's terrible events happening worldwide, but you read some of the stuff that's going on there, and you know what I mean, like food exports are being hurt. Endless, like it's just the list goes on and on and on.
Japan's been good to Banff.
Yeah,
for
and there's
a long time.
And there's a very strong Japanese community that lives here, and you know, I think everyone's just reaching out. And you know, from that night in Banff, I think the most impressive thing was that the Banff Park Lodge donated $100,000.
Wow.
Itself. So, I mean, that's where the majority of the money came from.
BPL donated $100,000?
$100,000, yeah.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
That's really great.
Quite impressive.
Yeah.
To see that kind of giving.
Yeah.
So, and you know, that money's matched, and that's part of the 270. So, cool. you know, great contribution from the area. It's fantastic to see.
One night in Banff, right?
Amazing. Yeah. Amazing. And, you know, we saw it, you know, when they had the bottle drive, it was a couple of hours, you know, that was, you know, I think that was $17,000, you know. It's amazing, the, you know, the contributions.
Yeah. No, it is. And we'll keep up to date as well if there's any other events going on. I mean, you can still buy bracelets at Sushi Bistro to help Japan, and there is still a couple of fundraisers if you want to spend a little bit more money, but we're almost out of time. But Hamish wants to say one more thing. I just want to say
one more thing. Just if you can make it down to the Canmore Civic Center, I think it's from April 8th to the 13th. There's a really neat display going on, and it makes sense for us to talk about it just because we can go and see photos of it's because this year, April 6th, is Tartan Day, sort of celebrating Scottish origin, you know, where Scottish names or Scottish origins is the third on the 2006 census for Canada. And Banff, Canmore, Calgary, Airdrie, all of these are Scottish places, you know what I mean? And a lot of people don't recognize that. And so it's just kind of a neat little thing to see, like, how strong Scottish roots were. We were talking about Japanese roots here. Scottish roots are also pretty strong.
And so when is that event?
It's April 8th through the 13th at the Canmore Civic Center. There's a big gala on the 9th, but you know what I mean? You'll be able to see the exhibit.
Great. Yeah, so people should check out that.
Absolutely.
Whether you be Scottish or not.
Right.
Check it out.
And Hamish said.
And thanks, guys, for coming in. We'll talk next week.
Thanks, Camara.